I will tell you, I drove through the night from the national championship. I hosted last night for the CFP pregame and halftime, and literally left Atlanta at 2 a.m., got here at 5 a.m., slept for about 45 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes, and got up to be with you guys this morning. That's how much I wanted to be with you guys. They gave me a great introduction, so just wanted to say thank you. Just have just a few minutes with you guys this morning. And I want to tell you about changing the narrative. I have a shirt on that says K plus Q, and it stands for Kings plus Queens. And last summer in 2016, being a sportscaster for almost 14 years now, I recognized that our sport, college football, was trending in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. I mean, I couldn't do a show on SiriusXM without literally having to take a break and cry, because you would look at Fox Sports, ESPN, CBS, and it was guys getting in trouble for putting their hands on women. It was guys getting in trouble for sexual assault. It was guys just getting in trouble with the law, guys not doing anything the right way. We were letting yahoos and guys that were on the wrong course steal the headlines. And so instead of being somebody that just said, you know what, I'm going to just keep talking about this on the radio, this problem we have, but I'm not going to do anything about it, I decided to create this curriculum called Changing the Narrative. And I thought, okay, what are these simple tenets that I would love to talk to young men about, particularly at the collegiate level? But it was actually created, believe it or not, for the high school level. And eventually we will get there. We will take it to the high school level, because I think the sooner we get to these young men, the sooner that we can change their course. We can tell them that they can be kings in every facet of their life. And so the tenets are this. It's who are you away from the football field? What if you were never a football player? Like, what if you were never given the talents and the passion and the skills to be a football player? What is it that sets your world on fire? What is it that makes your heart leap? Like, what is it that you are passionate about? I get them to start thinking about life beyond themselves, right? And I would get them to start thinking about what their purpose is in life, because you know what these young men have told me across the country? I've been to 19 schools, and I'm about to show you those schools at the slide at the end of this, because I just have a few minutes this morning. But I've had men hug me from all across the country and say, Rachel, you're the first person that's told me I had worth outside of football. That'll break your heart. And I've also had young men tell me, I'm dying for people to know who I am besides being a football player. I got purpose and passion and dreams. So I go in there and I talk to your young men, hopefully in the future, young men, about purpose, passion, platform, right? And being a king. And the other part of that equation is the Q, which is the queen. And we talk about the fact that you're never going to get a queen, a woman that will change your life, a woman that will alter the course of your life, if you are not a king. Because, see, these young men have been taught to be kings on the football field. They've been taught that their worth is football, that their identity is football. Men, there is a reason that I think it's up to 75% of NFL players within 5 years of being out of the league are drug addicted, broke, divorced, or all of the above. Because our young men are growing up and thinking that football is their only purpose. And you know what I tell them? Football is merely a platform, a beautiful platform for you to be able to change the world, for you to be able to use your social awareness, your voice, your mind to be able to change the world. So it's been really, really amazing. I'm going to tell you some testimonials. I talked to this young man, and he allowed me to be able to share his story. But I spoke at Auburn in August, and we have these bracelets, and they say changing the narrative. And we talk about being a king, and I tell him, don't you dare come up here and take this bracelet after the talk. If you're going to walk out of here and cheat on your test, loaf in practice, not keep your word, not treat women well. Because it's all about, it's all about how it's not only just treating women well, it's how do we view women. And we do this exercise, man, where I get them to close their eyes and envision the woman that they respect the most. I'm like, is it your mama, your grandma, your sister, your aunt? Why do you respect her? Is she amazing? Is she kind? Is she strong? Is she loving? Is she wonderful? And then I get them to open their eyes, and I say, what if we viewed all women like you, that woman that you saw when you closed your eyes and the light bulb goes off? They tell me, they're like, Rachel, it's crazy. I never thought about viewing my girlfriend or the girl that's been hitting on me, because I'm a football player, like I view my grandmother and treating her like that. Like, it's crazy. But this young man, we follow each other on Twitter, so they'll come up and they'll tell me their stories, but we follow each other on Twitter so they have a safe space if they want to talk to me later, because I tell them I never want to come into your life for 15 minutes and talk. I'm a lifer. I'll be here for you. I'll advocate for you. I'll believe in you. I'll tell people how amazing you are. I believe that you are a king. And so he messages me and he said, Rachel, afterwards I was so inspired by your talk that I picked up the phone and called my deadbeat dad. And I told him I forgave him. And my heart I cried when I got that message, and my heart went to that father who didn't deserve that grace, but yet he got it. He got a phone call from his son. He said, a weight's been lifted off of me, and I can now be the man that God created me to be. And I said, Trey, I'm so proud of you. Well, a couple of months later, I went to UAB, and I told them Trey's story. And 2 young men came up to me. The first one, this big 6'7" football player, and he hugs me, and he's got tears about brimming out of his eyes. And he said, Miss Rachel, I hadn't talked to my mama in 3 years. I said, oh, baby. I said, there's nothing in the world that should keep you from talking to your mama. I said, please, please promise me that you'll pick up the phone and you'll call your mom when you leave here. And he said, I will. And about 4 players later, another young man comes up to me and he said, my mom got addicted to drugs when I was in 3rd grade. They didn't look anything alike, didn't have the same color skin, not from the same area of the world. And he said, she lost custody of us, and my dad got custody, and we hadn't been in touch since. And I said, is she alive? He said, she is. And I said, would you call her? And he said, I will. So I gave it about a week. And I reached out to those young men privately on Twitter, and I said, how did it go? Did you do what you said you were going to do? And men, both of those young men that night picked up the phone and called their mamas and are on the road to reconciliation. And I called Trey at Auburn, and I said, do you know what you did? By being a king, by being brave, by being willing to take the first step and show someone grace and forgiveness that did not deserve it. You set off a chain reaction of grace and forgiveness, and 2 young men's lives in another school that will never know your name and don't know who you are, because I didn't use his name at that point, and he's given me permission now. I said, they'll never know you, but their families will always thank you. And Trey called me and he said, my whole family wants to meet you. Will you come down to the Senior Bowl? They all know who you are. My daddy wants to meet you. That's what's happening with these talks, guys. This one, everybody, we know Bobby Bowden. He's a dear friend of mine. I sent a talk to Bobby, and on the right, this must have been early in the morning. He does email. He had a couple of typos. We'll forgive him, right? Because he's one of the greatest football coaches of all time. But he talked about the message on the right. You're picking up the cross and carrying on your shoulders in the name of football. These are the future leaders of the nation. I pray that God will lead you to other teams. May the Son enfold you. And on the left, this young man was from ECU, and I left out his name. He said, I just want to take a moment to tell you, I appreciate you coming to talk to us Pirates today. A lot of these guys won't take to heart the things you were hitting on, even though they need to. I admired your tenacity and your dedication, your passion. You're clearly a very strong woman, and you opened my eyes today. I always thought I treated my girlfriend incredibly well. We've dated for 4 years and some change now, and I always feel like I do a good job in my relationship. But I think I'd held back because I didn't think I wouldn't get back what I put in. But that's selfish, and it's not about me, just as you said. Thank you so much. Your exercise of making us close our eyes stuck with me as well. When you made us picture the woman we respected the most, I closed my eyes and saw my mom. And I realized I respected her that much because she already does everything as if it's not about her. She has mastered that trait completely. Thank you for helping me today mature into a better man. Do you know why I know this? The thing I teach them, the number one thing, and I got to finish up here, I could talk forever, is it's not about you. You know who I learned that from? Anybody in here know Kevin Turner? Remember a man named Kevin Turner, played with the Patriots and the Eagles, was a fullback at Alabama. Anybody in here remember him? Okay. I met him before he passed away, and I climbed Kilimanjaro for him. And before I met him, I was just a sportscaster that wanted to be famous. That's all I wanted in my life was fame. And then I realized I met this man who was literally dying of ALS. And he dedicated his life when he could have pulled the covers up over his head and said, I'm done, world. And he dedicated his life to serving others because he realized the secret to life, and that is it's not about you. You weren't created for you. And so I tell these young men, it ain't about the money and the cars and the blings. It's about what you do with your life, your legacy. And it has been absolutely beautiful. These are some of the pictures. As I finish up here, I don't make them come talk to me afterwards. I tell them only if it's touched you, if it's meant something to you, and you see these genuine hugs. I've been all over the country. There were 2 million hits this summer organically for changing the narrative. Don't anybody ever let you tell you that your dream, your tiny dream, your players' dreams can't morph into something beautiful. And here's the thing I get them to think about as I'm leaving the room. I say, what is it? What is it that sets for me, it's changing the narrative. For me, it's influencing young kings. But what is it? And they come up and they tell me, Rachel, I've got a little sister that's got autism. I want to get noise-canceling headsets for the entire stadium so that kids with disabilities can enjoy the game. Or, Rachel, I saw 2 kids that were twins that were homeless under the bridge when I was growing up. I want to start a homeless shelter back in my college. Or, Rachel, no one ever helped me, and I was from the worst part of town. My mama worked 2 jobs, ate beans out of cans. He was like, I grew up thinking I wasn't going to help anybody because no one ever helped me. And then he said, I heard you talk, and I realized it's not about me. And I realized it's the exact opposite. I've got to help other people. I've got to, because I made it out, and I am here, and I'm getting an education. So I'm inspiring these men to not only look at women differently, but think about the power of their legacy and the power of their platform. And guys, it is working. Last night after the national championship, 2 of the players, because Alabama is one of my teams I've been to, 2 of the players ran up to me and they were like, Miss Rachel. And I said, you're a king. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the way you're doing your life. I'm so proud of the way that you're living. These are some more of the pictures. It's just been absolutely amazing. 19 schools in a year and a half. And we are not stopping. And these are the coaches that have said yes to changing the narrative. The coolest thing I'll tell you, as I know they are saying she's got to wrap up now, is that I just got off the phone with the NCAA. And in a desire to not just be somebody who came into your programs and spoke for 50 minutes. I wanted to create a legacy. And so the NCAA has now cleared me when I come into your programs to speak for your team to vote on a player who is a changing the narrative man. The whole team votes on him. And so because of that person will win the Changing the Narrative Man, the Kevin Turner Man Award. And when he either leaves school or exhausts his eligibility, he will be eligible for a grant, a $2,500 grant, as long as he is still keeping up the tenets of a Changing the Narrative Man, to start his own foundation. Not a business, his own foundation. You talk about a legacy. You look back, I'll look back in 10 years from now, there might be 10, 20, 30, 40 foundations because of changing the narrative. That's powerful. How do you get involved? Here it is. You get on your phone and you text KINGS, not king, KINGS with an S. If you text KING, you're going to get some financial information. That's what my personal assistant told me this morning. So please do not text KING. KINGS to 33222 if you're interested. You can also go to I'mChangingTheNarrative.com if you want more information on the talk. I'mChangingTheNarrative.com or 33222. And it'll just pop back and it'll give you some information, and then we will get in touch with you about coming to speak. I'm filling out my spring schedule As we speak, I would love to come and affect your men and change their lives and help them realize and walk in everything they were created to be and to be a king. I'll be here tonight at the awards show. Thank you guys so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.